go live button.
All right. I do have something to discuss with you, which is okay. No, wait. No, I'll discuss this first before I post the funny things. So I do have like some ideas floating around for a game. Nothing concrete yet, though. I am writing some ideas down on paper, and one of them is what?
Is it cement?
No.
Okay.
But it's like, so it's a strategy game, and one of the mechanics I've decided is like you get tech. You know the game. Fuck, what's it called? Fuck. There's Fall of the Samurai, Shogun 2, or what's it? Sins of the Solar Empire, right?
No, I only know the first one. I know the game that's called Fuck. That's the one that I know.
No, but so like in Fall of the Samurai, you have a tech tree, but the tech is kind of locked away behind an urbanization meter, and the more you urbanize, the more tech you unlock.
So, or the like, more urbanize in the sense of building cities, or the more, like, hip-hop artists move into your neighborhood?
Building cities. So the more modern buildings you build, the more urbanization you get, and the more techs you can research.
Gentrification, isn't it?
Yeah, more or less. But, like, the thing I was thinking of is similar to that. Like, you get tech points. And, you know, you get different tech levels, Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3, you know, etc., etc.
Up to Tech 9, one of the best,
actually.
Yes, the Tech 9.
Yeah, the classic.
But, like, so the thing is, so, like, certain research, certain, you know, tech you research gives you more tech points, so you can unlock the next tech. But they don't give you enough to unlock the next tech. You have to do that via buildings and so like you get schools and you get libraries, which give you tech points to unlock. But the more you expand your empire, obviously the more tech points you're going to get. So the easier it's going to be to unlock the next tech levels. But libraries in this game, I think, to balance them out, is they give you a load of tech points. They reduce the amount of tech points you need to get to unlock the next tech level, but they're hell of expensive and you need to maintain them with money. So, you know, kind of balancing out, right? It's like, it gives you a lot of bonuses, but you have to maintain it in order to, you know, have it, basically.
So you came up with an idea for, like, a design feature, a mechanic, basically.
Yes, but get this. If you lose those libraries and schools, you lose those tech points, which means you regress in tech. Which means you are not able to unlock the feat. Well, that means even if you have the tech unlocked, if you do not have the tech level that unlocks that tech, basically, you are not able to produce those units or create those buildings you have. I mean, if you have those buildings...
So you're trying to design a functional Dark Age.
In a way. So, like, if you have the buildings or units already in your army or in your city, that's fine. But you won't be able to build any more. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, that could work, actually. That's not like a...
Because, like, the way I'm seeing this is, like, it works two ways. First of all, for a Bronze Age game, which I genuinely don't think there's enough Bronze Age games, so I'm looking into something like that.
There's literally no period of human history that I find less interesting than the Bronze Age.
I find it interesting enough, mostly because of, like, the Bronze Age collapse. It's like, bro, we've learned nothing of this. We've got so many theories and no concrete evidence.
A Bronze Age prolapse.
I mean, am I fucking right?
I like the SCP's version of the Bronze Age collapse, where it was the sea people were literally just like flesh cults from Siberia.
Huh? I hadn't seen that one actually.
And because you had the two big superpowers were like the flesh cults, which are called the Sarkics, and then the church, or they were called something different, but they're currently their Church of the Broken God, and they're like steampunk, or like back then they would have been like bronze punk, if that's even a term.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so it was like the Bronze Age collapse was just like a huge like World War level event between these two cults that just sort of took down ancient Greece, the Mycenaeans. It just, that whole region was just utterly just devastated. And the only empire that survived somewhat was the Egyptian Empire.
How about instead of the sea peoples, it's the pea peoples?
Hmm.
How about that? How about it's the pea peoples?
Oh yeah, and then they go into the Mediterranean and they all pee at once, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
ew! And then they get out of the water and they don't trade anymore because it's all full of pee.
Yeah, that's
how
they
everything
conquered
collapsed.
everything, actually. That's how that worked.
They just peed in the ocean.
Yeah, they peed in the pool, basically.
Yeah, and everybody's like, I want to trade, but the water's yucky.
Yeah. Because back then cities, they always like smelled very good because they had like perfect sanitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the one dude whose dad's retired. He said that his dad became retarded. I was just thinking, it's like, yeah, his dad retired, and he's like, I want to relive my childhood, so he just gets a lobotomy.
Just robo tripping. Hey, I don't gotta work no more.
Yeah. My dad's retired too, so he does whatever the fuck he wants as well.
Yeah.
He just mostly has dogs.
Imagine retiring, honestly.
Yeah, that's like, why though?
Why? Like after retiring, my dad has resorted to like trolling on the internet, which is amazing.
Oh my god, that's based.
Honestly, even if I made like a fuck ton of money, I don't think I could like stop doing what I'm doing. Like I don't do what I do for money. I do it because I have an internal urge to do those things, and I need to do them.
I do have something funny for you guys. So, recently, a Brexiteer within the Tories has been kicked out because apparently he failed to disclose he had another job. Specifically, like a high-ranking...
Was he a Labour MP also at the same time?
No. Tories. He's Tories, and he was in the financial area.
The Labour Party.
No.
Why is that
so he was a financial advisor or like a banker. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
remember, boys, all bankers are wankers.
He got sacked. Wait, get this. Eurosceptic. So this is the Brexiteer guy. Eurosceptic former MP Owen Paterson takes UK government to European Court of Human Rights.
Based.
Oh my god, you can't make this shit up. We left the
Wait, so Brexiteer is going to the EU for help?
Yeah. Especially considering the fact we've left the EU. I mean, we still have a lot of EU laws currently. We're trying to repeal them. Get this, we are trying to repeal a lot of EU laws, but at the same time, there are a lot of EU laws that are not being repealed by the motion that's been put forward.
They're gonna get rid of all the ones that have any sort of consumer protection, any sort of labor protection, anything that's good for like people, and they're gonna keep all the shit regulations that are good for like the business associates that the Tories have. That's how it works. It's British. I mean, I'd say that's British politics. That's just fucking politics, baby. Yeah.
Catholics.
I love when these people like the second that. You know how sometimes in role-playing games, the moment, like, initiative starts, there's absolutely no role-playing anymore. It's just the gaming the tactical system.
Mm-hmm.
It's the second that it involves any sort of, like, realpolitik court shit, they stop giving a shit about anything and will pursue any avenue to continue being corrupt.
Yeah.
That's the game.
It's unfortunate.
Is your religion called nuttism?
What are you playing? Said Mayor 6.
Kashi?
You can make religion in this
Yeah,
game?
there's a whole system for it.
Damn.
I mean,
Nice.
there's a
Nuttism.
religious win, so
Lol. Bit of a side note, funny, but apparently Elon stole a tweet from fucking
he can't steal a tweet if he owns them.
Drill. He
Silly.
stole a tweet from he posted a tweet from Drill, but completely removed like the
Yeah.
you know the.
What does he think? People are not gonna notice this?
People have noticed and have started ratioing him in his fucking tweet.
I mean, he's been ratioed for a while.
Yeah, that is very
Kashi,
true.
is something happening at your end? Because I can't really hear you say anything. It's just sort of.
I'm talking to somebody on the phone.
Oh, okay.
I do have to say though.
I love this comic so much. I love it.
Yeah.
This is one of the funniest fucking.
People are having a hard time.
Aren't real women.
Don't worry, babe.
I'll handle this. If my girlfriend isn't a real woman, then why is she such a cunt? I love that. That's fucking
Part of why I like the ELO swag is that those are like cartoons. Those are like representations of him and his actual girlfriends.
Oh my
yeah,
god,
she
Very
she
tall.
is a giraffe, definitely.
Yeah.
I do have to say though, it
Furries
is
are
funny
everywhere
to
these
me-
days.
Yeah.
It is funny to me how people are starting to have a hard time to tell if he's real or not. Like with his jokes, I'm like, I think that's the intention.
Hey, I love post irony, dude.
Yeah.
That's
The one
Yeah,
thing
there's
I do want-
like some leftists on Twitter who are like saying like, oh, he's right wing, and it's like he's had like Vosh on his podcast like twice. I don't think he's like a Nazi,
I do.
or
I
he
do have
could be
to
a
comment.
Nazi depending how you think.
Vosh
about
probably debates proper Nazis in it. I mean, he
Yeah.
would if they actually, because they figure out that he actually knows what the fuck he's talking about every once in a while. So you can't. I love talking to like right wingers about, not even right wingers, but to anyone who has strong opinions about socialism. Like about socialism. I love to talk to them about it because they never know anything about it ever.
Yeah, pretty much.
It just incredible. Socialism is when the government does stuff.
True.
Speaking of some idiots, so recently I started to not necessarily go down a rabbit hole, but I've started to notice these videos pop up on my timeline on YouTube, where it's like they're discussing slavery, but specifically slavery about, it being propagated by Africa, right? Like, the slaves were sold by other African nations over to like the white colonizers, right?
I mean, yeah, that happened a lot.
No, but
Africa's
like,
not like just a place.
I
It's
know.
a
No,
huge-
like
yeah.
the thing is, like I'm started noticing a worrying trend, and maybe it's just me misunderstanding what people are saying in comments, because again, a lot of the context and intention gets removed when you comment on the internet. But like a lot of them are saying like, oh yeah, this is how it was, like white people never fucking perpetuated slavery as well.
Oh no, that's bullshit.
Like,
the colonizers very deliberately created the proper fucking
like,
not just economic incentives, but actually exercise the state violence necessary for it.
At a point, I was thinking in my head like, this is the thought process I actually went through to kind of like see how they were reasoning. It's like, well, technically speaking, both sides were at fault, because like, on the one hand, the African nations and tribes who profited off slavery were selling these people off to like the colonizers.
Yeah, they were
at the same time,
Quislings.
Yeah, but at the same time, you had the colonizers literally incentivizing this, because they were saying, "Hey, we will pay you to sell us these people
That's
like
capitalism,
chattel.
baby.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Yeah,
foreign exchange
yeah.
is capitalism, I guess.
what's the saying again? Everybody partook in slavery, but it took white people to make it an efficient international industry.
Yep.
And it took
Let's say
the
Romans.
Turks to perpetuate it into like very much into like the late 1900s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a thing.
But,
It's,
yeah,
it's
the
happening
thing is, I
today
kind of-
in Qatar.
Yeah.
I was.
but
Oh yeah,
fucking,
absolutely. People are starting to notice.
Didn't
my
the
God,
Ottoman
yeah.
Empire fucking like partake in cattle slavery up until like they fucking
Broke up.
dissolved?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Absolutely.
specifically
Arabian nations
of
have
white
not
people
stopped.
too, which is
Mhm.
kind of funny. But yeah, no, it's definitely no. Of course, there were a lot of like African aristocrats who were selling people of their own skin color into slavery, but that's kind of like to think of it as like the African nations and whatnot. It's kind of a or like this is kind of like the responsibility of black people in like I quote unquote. You didn't see that, but I was doing air quotes. It's kind of a very like European, even American way of looking at it, because it's not that simple. It's rich people selling out poor people.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Europeans never like showed up for the purpose of pushing slave market, it would not have grown to the level it did.
Yeah, I mean, they existed slavery in Africa before that.
Yeah,
Just not the kind of
sold
industrial
fucking
scale
slaves to each
shit
other.
that
Yeah, it wasn't on the level.
yeah that
after
white people
until
created the economic environment for.
Well, we were like,
Yeah.
here, if you give us people, we'll give you guns. So you can take more people, and we can give you more guns.
Fuck that. Honestly, holy
And
crap.
whoops, we made a mistake.
We accidentally give ourselves the guns and then killed you. That oopsie, that's a fucking big. That is what we call in the business a oopsie doodly. Yeah,
I remember watching a UK series on the industrialization of Britain, and of course they talked a lot about colonialism and all that good stuff. And they like one of the episodes was talking about the advancement of rifles, like with rifling and yada yada and all that stuff. And they had like a few minutes where they were talking about how they designed a rifle called like the colonial gun, which was just a like a gun made as cheaply as possible, mass produced as much as possible, strictly to be shipped over to like Africa and India to sell to the locals for goods that Britain needed.
Fucking rules.
This reminds me of a thing I've read about
Hey
in the
man,
past.
don't
called
hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah.
There was this gun that got
Can hate
designed way
both of
back in
them.
the day, and it would fire two types of bullets: round bullets and square bullets. And specifically in the documentation of the design, the guy who invented the gun said, "We use the round bullets on Christians. The square bullets, which will probably cause more damage, are specifically meant to be shot at Turks."
I'm thinking about
the puckle gun.
It goes in the square hole.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Where does the circle go? It goes in the square hole.
She's just crying in agony.
I fucking feel sorry for that lady. I know she's probably faking it.
There's a bunch of, there's a lot of like shit that works off of that, and she's still doing like reactions to it, to like new incarnations of the meme, which is I respect.
I love.
Yeah.
So talking of killing people, my home of Silicon Valley has become even more of a cyberpunk dystopia today.
Yeah, dude.
Fun, yeah.
The police have legalized using robots to kill people.
Yeah.
Literally,
cool.
straight up it's all the
Jesus, you sound like you're having
And
a
it's
stroke,
kind of
man.
like
Yeah.
it's kind of surreal, like seeing them come out of their cars with their little drones.
I mean, it's fine. Just put a child robot next to it, and it'll run away.
Oh my god.
Good luck with that.
It's so because the police. I'm thinking the justification for this is at least in part, in case it's like threatened.
hmm
Who gives a shit
right,
if the
it's-
robot gets broken?
Oh, right, it's the San
cares?
Francisco police as well. It's
I
not
don't-
going to be used to kill suspects.
They're-
It's going to
they're
be
made
used to
to
kill
be
homeless
broken.
people.
Pretty much.
Basically,
Oh no, it's only a matter of time before they consider drones to be officers, like what they do with canines.
Yeah. I say this from like a European perspective because I know that in Europe, when a police officer feels threatened for their life, they will shoot the suspect.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure 100% of cases where in the past like decade or so, police officers, at least in Germany, killed someone. It was because they felt someone else was threatened, a civilian, right?
hmm
But how
That makes
how
sense.
much do you think if like that drone ends up just shooting someone, they will be able to go, oh yeah, it's because he would have destroyed the drone. And
gonna-
that's
Absolutely.
basically
That's gonna
akin to
happen-
them like killing a cop.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's going to go full on Ed
And they're going
209.
to
It's
they're gonna get jail time
turn
for
its
like killing a
guns.
person.
yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
because the drone is going to kill the person who was like not even whoever
yeah,
was
they're not
operating
gonna
the
live.
drone interpreted was going to. Is the drone is someone like sitting at the like controls, or is it like an artificial intelligence running the thing?
It's probably going to be automated for the most part, with special
probably.
operations being
To actually
manually
take
operated.
aim, they're gonna
Yeah,
Mm.
probably.
But see,
Like
I know
it does have a
exactly.
self-defense mechanism that's like pre-coded in there.
I know
so-
exactly why they authorized this in San
What?
Francisco specifically. It's because they didn't want to, expand infrastructure to get rid of all the shit on the street. So instead, they're just going to have these drones rolling around shooting homeless people.
no drone. That I mean, frankly, not even a military drone, because that's against the Geneva Convention. You cannot have automated shooting systems.
Mhm.
Oh, trust me, they're gonna find a way to disregard it.
I mean, the Geneva
Well, you
Convention doesn't
you
count for cops
forgot-
because they're not at war. They don't need
I
to
mean,
adhere
right,
to the
sure.
Geneva
Yeah,
Convention.
that's
You mean
why
human
cops
rights?
are allowed to use
Human rights violations.
that's why cops are allowed to use hollow points and the military's not.
Yeah.
I'm
Wait,
just
excuse
gonna raise my hand here and point out. Pretty much all NATO attack helicopters have automated systems for firing their main rotary guns.
But
Most-
it's still a person
anything made
shooting
for that does.
pulling the trigger, though.
It's not necessarily.
Not in all cases.
It's not a computer seeing, oh, there is movement here. I will now automatically shoot because there is movement here. Like, the decision as to whether or not to do that is not left almost entirely to the machine. Because that would be a violation of the Geneva Convention.
I think in the Americans' case, you mean the Geneva Suggestion.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I mean, it's like, but if you're
Already
doing
has
this with a police robot, there shouldn't be any way for it to shoot automatically
Without
ever.
somebody, yeah.
Like
There shouldn't. There should not.
any human life is more valuable than the life of this robot.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
It's not even alive. It's like
I don't think
literally
the
at this point
robot-
putting property over people.
Yes,
This whole thing is just
they
reminding
have
me of an old
always
IT
done that.
crowd skit.
It's such a fucking mask off thing, though. At this point, I feel like, holy fuck,
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
I thought they were like survey drones, like the first time I seen them, because like they're all over Hollywood and stuff. But then like you see their like little guns come out because they're like,
What the fuck?
it freaked me out. I was like, what in the fuck?
I have to. This is unbelievable to me.
I mean, the
by which
bomb
I mean I
disposal one.
fully believe that this is happening. I mean, I have no doubt about it. This is very in character, but at the
Speaking
same
of-
time, it's completely unbelievable.
Speaking of property over people, I don't know whether the story is true or not, but the story of the guy who set the prices of all the goods in his store like unreasonably high, so that if you stole it, you'll go straight to jail.
Yeah.
And then you could go up to the the cash register and get a coupon that would reduce the price of whatever item you had down to its normal price.
What?
Nice.
How would you know that was a thing though?
It says so in the shop. They
Yeah.
had like
Oh.
signs put up.
Mhm.
I
Signs
honestly, I feel like,
Like on one hand, I get it, right?
yeah,
Don't steal shit. Like, don't be a fucking thief. But on the other hand,
But it's praxis.
it's such a bitch ass move.
I don't consider it. I don't consider it a bitch ass move. I consider it kind of based, to be honest. However, that being said, don't be a dick to a fellow
However.
human. Come on, please. Just be nice to each other, right? If somebody's like
But
obviously on hard times,
Be nice to each other.
yeah, like if someone
The
like is
golden
obvious,
rule. That's always worked.
yeah. Obviously, if someone is down on their luck
Notoriously
and
Jesus.
struggling, if somebody's down on their luck and obviously struggling to feed their family, right?
Mm.
Give the man some handouts. Come on,
Give
man.
them some fucking soup. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel like. But you can't even give homeless people food because the police will come and like ruin it.
Well, yes, that's because there are dedicated places for them to get food, which is called soup
Well,
kitchens.
I know,
Yeah,
but like,
no, there's actually
You
pretty
should
much
be
all
able
places
to-
have dedicated laws to like give you that you can give people food.
there should be some good Samaritan laws.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I know for a fact that there are plenty of good Samaritan laws. It's just that a lot of institutions actively interfere with that. I have in my local supermarket where I go. One of the homeless guys there, or a lot of them actually, they get like sent away by the manager of the supermarket. And every time I walk past them in the supermarket, I have this urge to just beat the shit out of this little ass motherfucker. Because it's not like they're just standing outside asking people if they have petty cash. That's all they're doing. This is
Wait, you're gonna beat the shit out of the homeless dude?
no the
The manager.
like this.
Damn.
People are not
There's a
gonna
limit.
not buy groceries or buy less groceries
Because somebody's
there
outside.
are homeless people outside of the supermarket. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It is very true.
Yeah.
everyone needs food.
I think you have too much faith in People Burger.
I mean, you need. It's not even. I'm not even faith in people type situations. You need to eat groceries.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need
You can't not because there's homeless people in front of every supermarket,
Mhm.
and no matter how often he sends them away, they're still gonna be there. They still just show up the second he's inside.
Over here,
Yeah.
the homeless people sell like little homeless magazines outside of the stores.
Yeah, I give them money. I don't want a homeless magazine. I can barely read as it is.
Well, you are German.
What is a homeless magazine? It's like
I
homeless
have
today.
no idea. I've never.
It's hold
It's
on.
like this
Let
is where you
me-
get heroin.
Let me just.
If only.
Yeah.
Soup kitchen reviews and heroin
Yeah, yeah.
acquisitions.
It is.
It's like the Michelin guide for soup kitchens.
It's like how, it's
Right,
like
so-
how
This is a
it's like
5-star
how-
soup kitchen.
Yeah.
So the magazine is called House Past. Like that's the direct translation of it.
Yeah. We have one that's called Hempels, and there's an expression in German that's called "Wie bei Hempels unterm Sofa," which means literally it translates to just like underneath the sofa at Hempel's house, and it just means filthy and dirty, chaotic.
There used to be a whole like hobo code here in the U.S. It was just like symbols that hobos would carve into like trees and around
yeah.
train stations.
Those
Yeah,
exist
that was
pretty much everywhere, but they're different depending on where you are.
Yeah. yeah. I thought
Street-
that was really cool.
Street Rats over here used to have the same system as well.
Yeah.
And by street rats, I mean
It's like
homeless
Aladdin.
kids. No, it's quite literally homeless kids who
Yeah.
who live outside of what are they? What's that system called again? Where you put children you don't want?
Foster
Oh,
care.
Foster care.
Foster
Foster
care.
care.
No,
Oh, a
I guess-
boys'
Orphan.
home. A boys' home. That's
Oh.
where I grew up.
Yeah, like
Street rat. Riff raff. I'm just
Like,
thinking of that song. From
children's
Aladdin.
homes or whatever you want to
Oh,
call it.
Yeah,
Urchin-
it's
Street
children's
Urchin.
homes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in one of those.
Yeah, but basically it's where like kids who don't live in those go, like on the street and whatnot. And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
had like little ways of like signifying, like for example, like if you look for a place you want to get food at for free, because like the owners were nice to you, they would hang up like little empty cans of like chopped tomatoes.
Freak.
Kashi, that was such an incredibly stupid idea. In
know?
like literally, there was no way that couldn't have been incredibly dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to shit on you, but Jesus fucking Christ, man.
I got an idea, actually. Okay, I don't have an idea. I was hoping I'd be able to get the settler down before all the barbarians would swarm, but like, that's not happening.
No. No,
That
it
don't
is
sound
not.
like it happening, bro. That don't sound like it too nice to happen.
Oh, hell yeah.
Jesus Christ, I still got so much to fucking do.
There was actually a World of Darkness thing I found out that I did not know about.
Uh-huh.
It's the Frankenstein one.
The what?
It's Frankenstein, like it's like a flesh golem or something.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
Protean the Created.
Yeah, the created.
Excuse me? I've never
Yeah,
heard
I didn't
about
know.
this.
I've never
Wait,
heard
you
of it
haven't?
either.
No.
Yeah, this is the thing. I'll post the rulebook in chat if my Discord will allow me.
Yeah, do that. Because I was like, oh, what? I was asking people for World of Darkness books, like, because they're changing to the new system or whatever. I was like, give me your old books. And they were like, oh, I got
Everything
this,
I
like,
put
created
with-
book.
Yeah.
So what? It's basically
God
Miles
damn it.
in World of Darkness.
It's like a
What's that book?
Frankenstein. Like, you could make, like, a...
I mean, I feel like that's just part of Mage.
That's what I thought. I was like, it sounds like it would just be, like, a small section, but, like, it's a whole core rule book.
It's a whole core ass rule book, bruv.
Because I
Here we
I'm
go.
Googling it, but I can't find it.
Here,
Promethean
this is
created. Because
Yeah.
Protean is like the discipline of
yeah, Promethean the Created. Here, according to the
Promethean.
wiki. The game is inspired by classic tales of Frankenstein's monster, the golem, and such simulacra. The characters are individuals created first by dismembering and reassembling a human corpse in most cases, or multiple corpses in others, to form a human body, then animating the body with pyros, the divine fire.
Lol, that sounds pretty base.
That's
Not gonna
definitely
lie.
that is definitely a mage thing though. Like mages
Oh,
do
for
this.
sure.
Oh, it's okay. It's like Orpheus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Where
different.
it's like a limited run type thing. Because I've been doing a video on Wraith. And the thing about Wraith is that currently whatever lore Wraith has is no longer valid, but Wraiths are still clearly a thing in the 5th edition of Vampire on account of, there's like stat blocks for them and entire plot hooks on how to interact with them. So you can sort of just disregard all that shit and go, well, the hierarchy still exists, or something like that. But Orpheus was kind of interesting because it explored like the aftermath of the end of the meta plot. But I feel like I feel like the White Wolf, or rather now Paradox people, can feel kind of confident about like ending the meta plot for various of their games, but I don't think they can really do that for Vampire because they have to continue edging that baby.
It's too big. They're making games, AAA games out of it. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't stop. Can't stop.
Can't stop.
Speaking of AAA games, I feel like this is a nice segue. So Pokemon got released.
No,
Yeah.
we're not talking about that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I
unfortunately, we
don't
are.
want. I don't want to talk about that.
That was the most
So-
disappointing thing I've seen. Like, I didn't buy it, but I was like,
Damn.
No, see, I'm gonna.
I can't get behind it.
I'm not a fan.
I hate that there's so many good
Hang on,
Pokemon
let
in
him
that
talk,
game.
guys.
Oh, you're one to talk, Posh.
No, see,
Fuck
I was
you.
what I'm going to bring up, right, is that people seem to like, you know how CD Projekt Red got like a lot of shit for Cyberpunk, and
Yes.
how a lot of other companies like Bethesda and whatnot get shit for how their products are like released, and then you have Pokemon, who they are starting to get a little bit more shit now, but people were like defending it from day one. And it's always astounded me how people are giving like the Pokemon Company and Game Freak and whatnot this much leeway when they're like released in this state.
They're really just like they're just behind the brand at this point. Like it's been like 25 years or whatever. Like we're already like invested. But the thing is they have enough money to fix
Not
the
give a shit,
problems.
yeah.
And like that's the only reason like I think we're now becoming disillusioned, because there's so many other games coming out that are like of similar or better quality, just not Pokemon branded. And we're like, well, if these indie games are doing great, like you have so much, you're the highest grossing brand in the world, and you are giving me this shit and you just expect me to pay full price for it?
I mean, that's why you make the most money, right? I mean, it's true though. It's if you instead of fixing your product costs money, and the selling point of your product is not that the product is good, but at this point it's that it's the product
Pokemon.
It's Pokemon. So why do that?
Yeah, people will quite literally buy anything with a Pokemon logo on it.
No, they'll buy anything with a Nintendo logo on it.
I've never played Pokemon. I have to be entirely honest with you. I've never in my entire life.
I've played it. I liked it, but I wasn't. You know, I'm not a hardcore stan of it. Like I'm not blind to all of its flaws.
Same.
I feel like I
used to be like really bit. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like really like not having played Harry Potter really makes me disconnected from my peers. But no, it's like
Harry Potter.
It's like not knowing about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because everyone's always.
I mean, because like the whole generation kind of grew up with it, so that makes sense.
And everyone's always fucking like talking about Pokemon and Pokemon merch, and it's like, fucking Pokemon, and I just don't care.
What I find criminal, right, is that it is the most profitable singular IP in the world, right?
Yes.
It outsells Hello Kitty of all things.
Damn.
Jesus.
That is insane to me.
I'll be honest, Hello Kitty's not even my radar, so I don't know if that's like amazing or
it's like the second highest grossing franchisable like item in the world.
Okay.
Like it is everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't like that the new Pokemon game just runs like such shit, because there's actually some really cool new Pokemon in there.
Like shit. It's on the Switch.
There are very few new cool Pokemon. The rest of them are like they took old Pokemon and just made them longer or gave them legs. Like
oh, there's that one, what's it called, like a Tinkertot? That one's really cool.
Like Pokemon Arceus also didn't like run all that well, but it still ran better than the current gen. And it's like
I think that's where I started losing it, because like it has the Pokemon Go mechanics where it's like you have to catch them, but not just once, like a million times or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, like fuck me, the fucking.
Wish there were other monster games, to be honest.
The Switch
monster catchy games.
Like the Switch is a
Monster Sanctuary.
Thing, but...
Yeah, I know that one. I do play it.
Power World's coming out soon.
Yeah, I love that one justification for Pokemon running like shit. It's like you hear some Nintendo fanboys say like, "Oh, well, we obviously need a Switch Pro now," or we need a
What?
new Switch.
Nintendo
I've
has
heard-
their own console, and they still can't make their own games run on it.
We
like
must
100%.
purchase
Yeah,
new
so-
product.
Yeah, so now
Fuck
they're
me.
saying
The
like,
Switch
oh,
has
we
a
need
screen
new
that's
console.
720p, guys. Like, I don't know what.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and get excited for next product.
Shut
The
up.
only thing I even care about coming out on Switch is the Mega Man Battle Network collection. Other than that, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, same. Being honest.
I also like how the Steam Deck is capable of running both the Switch emulator and a good portion of the working Switch games.
Yeah, better than the Switch does as well.
I just
Yeah.
want the Steam Deck as like a portable computer I can fuck around with. I don't even like want one to play games on it or anything.
I mean, it is.
I mean-
basically
I mean,
just
you
a
could
portable
make
computer.
something like that with like a Raspberry Pi and like a screen. Like, you don't need
Oh yeah,
the-
for sure,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Well, no, well, also Valve has made the Steam Deck so you can do.
Oh
exactly
yeah, no,
that.
Steam Deck is definitely
Yeah.
gonna
You can
start
fuck
killing.
around with it as much. You can install almost any Linux distro. You can install Windows on it if you want to.
Yeah, you can install Windows 10. It cannot run Windows 11 properly.
As so very often, Valve has come up with a superior product because it's
Yes.
like more
Yeah.
user
Who would
friendly
have guessed?
and like more
Who would've
customizable to the
guessed?
user experience.
Like
Yeah,
they
it's-
even released the STLs for
Really?
like the case, so you can just make your own case
And
for
what
it.
does
too.
Valve
Wait,
do?
are
like
you
they're
What does
paying
Valve
attention
do?
to people or
Bro.
something.
Valve uses socialist organization principles inside of the company.
Mhm,
Who would have
mhm.
guessed? I do have to say, I am quite worried once Gabe will pass away. It's gonna happen.
I'm
I-
not, because the VP of Valve is actually pretty good.
Really?
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not worried. Like, yeah, right. So Valve's upper circle, or whatever you want to call it, like the people who are at the top, right, are all
Yup.
practically the people who founded Valve.
Okay.
So
Yeah, if Valve
they
will
all
be in
sort of
good
share
hands
the
for
same
some
sort of thought.
decades.
Okay. Yeah.
And I reckon the people who work there. I mean, see, this is not going to happen. But ideally, they should eventually turn it into a worker-owned venture.
That's
That would
not
be
gonna happen.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
it's-
no, that.
to
sure
be
would
fair,
amazing.
we live currently in a time. People are not talking about this, but currently we live in a time where there's more like traditional businesses, like capitalist businesses, are being transformed into worker-owned cooperatives than like at any
Mhm.
point in history. Because we have a lot of middle-class businesses where the people that made them, that founded them, are retiring, and they like care about their business in a way that's about like they care about the product that they make.
Mm.
And so they don't want to sell it to some like big investor because they know that it's just gonna be, bullshit.
Shit.
And they want the people that worked for them to have job security because they've worked with these people for years. And so what they will often do is sell them to the workers. They actually literally transform them into worker-owned cooperatives.
Based.
Which, in a sense, is also the purpose of labor unions. Well, it's one of the purposes of labor unions, to buy out the company.
Fucking hell.
Which is not something that happens,
Oh.
really, but,
God, speaking of labour unions, that's reminded me of the UK. You know what laws the UK is trying to pass currently?
I've
Which,
heard
by
of
the
it.
way,
the
Labour-
anti-protest stuff.
Yes. Where it's not just, anti-protest in general. It's like, if you've been to a protest in the last 5 years, if you've been associated with anyone that has been to a protest in the past 5 years, if you have supported, like, indirectly, be it monetarily or not, or like sharing the message in the past 5 years of a protest, you can get, depending on what it is, you can either go to jail or get fined.
Lock me up, baby.
That is the most incredibly
It is.
draconian shit.
I'm
mean-
just like, at this point, like, fuck it. I'm gonna look for, I will look for remote jobs right now. I don't care where,
leave the
but I
UK.
will be Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, I'm looking.
leave
No,
the
like,
UK.
wait, I need to find a new job, but it's going to be remote, and I'm going to move to France because
Yeah.
fuck this shit. I'm out.
So
I imagine them
uh,
trying to pass anti-protest laws in France, of all places.
like
Oh
the
no! The
I
fucking
feel like
people would fucking riot.
Posh.
They should
for
leave the
sure.
guillotine out in the town square.
Yeah.
They should just leave it.
Yo, as soon as anti-protest laws get mentioned in France, you will be seeing guillotines
The
everywhere,
French
my friend.
love protesting so much.
The
It's
French
so
love a
weird.
good
Une
protest.
strike? Une strike? No, like the
Oh,
UK
they
is a bit
absolutely-
behind the curve here, Posh. I found out recently that in Denmark, right, even after all like the corona shit has kind of passed, right,
Yeah.
the
Kind of.
anti-protest laws are still in place, like the emergency powers.
Bruh,
They never got
you
rescinded.
kidding?
No, I'm not. The ban on gatherings, like social gatherings, that has been lifted, but the ban on protests is still in place, and you can get up to 5 years in jail.
Oh,
That's
fuck me.
insane.
But like protests are still happening in practice, though, right?
No. I mean,
I-
Danes largely don't really have much to protest about right now.
But I mean, there's always some fucking fringe group that's like, save
There
the
is.
whales or some shit.
I mean, fucking, what do they call it? Like the anti, like the meat and milk folk. What are they called again?
The
PETA?
what?
No, the people who did the fucking like milk protests where they went into stores and poured out
Oh
milk on
yeah,
the
that
ground.
one. That was in.
Oh
that was
my
in
God.
the UK. That
Oh,
was
God,
in
what
the UK.
Oh no, it was also over here, Posh.
Really?
I know this because my brother spent a week in jail.
For
Over
dumping out
that?
milk?
Well, not over that milk, but because they were like my brother is a very cantankerous sort.
They're quite
Um,
literally crying over spilled milk. Is this?
So my brother, when he wants to go to the store, he's like no shit's given. He just wants to get in, get his shit, leave.
Right?
Now these people were, out in the countryside because they figured, oh, like police response will be slow. There's not that many officers. There's not that many people. We can
They're
also
think
bored
about it. There'll be a
officers.
news story. We can, generate PR. In comes my brother.
Cool.
Oh, no.
Who wanted to get some fucking milk, and he wanted it right the fuck now. And one of the guys standing there, like, keeping people away from the milk while the others were pouring it out on the ground.
Keeping people
Just
away from.
he started pushing my brother away from, and fucking yelling at my brother, like, oh, you're a bad person, blah, 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 blah.
Imagine being the
And my
worker
brother-
in the store.
And my brother, not even giving a shit, like a fucking single beat goes by, punches the guy in the mouth.
Oh my god.
Why were they pouring out the milk? I'm still that's
Yeah, what-
the bit
what
that
is
I
the
Because
care
story?
about.
it's stupid performative activism.
But for what?
Is that like the people who are like throwing paint on like those
It was
famous
probably
paintings?
PETA. That's
It's sort of like,
definitely the kind of stuff they do.
all this milk is bad for the environment. Like, okay,
That's
so
why
you
we
It's
want,
already
use
been made.
Yeah, it's
you
already
want
been
us
made.
to use almond milk instead, which is far worse for the environment.
Oh yeah, no, almonds are
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
destructive. for
Going
the
back to
environment. I'm like,
the,
hell nah, bro.
UK for a moment. Sunak's also like gutting the NHS. He's
Yeah.
preparing
Oh, no,
to fire a bunch of staff and like replace them with robots that don't exist.
Fuck me,
He's
yeah.
just
Man.
Like the worst part is
alluding to
like,
the
what
vague notion
fucking
of
industry?
robots.
Where the fuck are we going to build these robots? Are we going to fucking import them and fucking tank the British economy again? Like, bro.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Like it's like with what fucking industry? I've the burger meetup we had in Sheffield, right?
Yeah.
I've been there. It looks fucking depressing, bruv. The industry there does not exist, and I do not think it exists in many other parts of the country. We ain't as fucking shit building robots.
I mean, Sunak is also cutting funding to
Yes.
to public
To the
fucking
NHS.
public education.
Yep,
Oh, and
that too.
also the new NHS guidelines on what to do with trans people. Have you seen that shit?
Oh my god!
my god.
That
I've
is
barely read it, and I'm
that-
like, nah.
Literally,
Oh, that
do not allow
I know-
them to transition socially. Not a medical decision
Yeah.
in any way,
One-
shape, or form. Doctors have no say in this. It's not a medical decision whether you should transition socially. They don't let him do it.
Now,
The one
I
thing
can-
I will say,
can
the one
tell
thing
you
I
this
will say
much.
is I do kind of feel guilty for like planning to leave, because at the end of the day, I'm just like, maybe not a lot of people would leave. You know, that's fine, but I won't be there to add my voice to like the online discussion in the UK because I'll be leaving for France or
I
whatever.
mean, these kind of things, like, you can't really carry the weight of the country on
Yeah.
your shoulders. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it's true.
I
but
gotta
I'm
do
just
what's
saying,
best
like,
for me.
yeah,
One
that's true.
thing I will say as well, with the trans stuff, right?
Mhm.
Keep like it's pretty big. Keep an eye out what's happening like under the hood as well, right? As a result, like as a result of everyone focusing on this, right? Look at how much
I
shit is
mean-
getting passed underneath it.
That's always a thing.
Yeah, if people are outraged, like so outraged about this and focusing only on this, they're not seeing
Yeah,
all
but
the other
people
things that are
aren't
getting
really massively
patched away.
outraged about this, though. Most people don't even know about this. This is not a law that's getting passed with the trans people. It's just a new guideline that was released in
The one thing I will
NHS.
say is, the one thing I will say about the whole whatchamacallit, the protest law, is that people are signing the YouGov petition, which it might not do much, but at least it'll be talked about in Parliament. The one thing I did want to mention, actually, now that I remember it, Keir Starmer is actually supposedly backing the law. He's actually backing this shit. I'm like, yeah, no, bro,
No, Posh. I know you. I know how literally whenever anyone says anything to you, you immediately believe it. And we will fact check this now.
Nah, but to be fair, I have heard some Labour politicians are either backing it or not saying anything on it. So I would not be surprised if Keir Starmer is like, yeah, no, this sounds like a good idea.
Well, he's backing stiff sentences for climate protesters who block roads. So that's a thing.
I'm not sure that's the same thing, though.
Yeah.
It's part of the same act.
UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just putting it all together.
Yeah, they're just
Posh,
bunching it all together.
It's the public order bill.
So yeah, Posh, I just want to mention that yeah, you know, don't feel bad about leaving the UK because I'm pretty much in the same boat. Because
the one
you know,
thing-
living in South Dakota after
like
the Colorado
peace.
Springs. All right, I'll just talk later.
No,
No,
go
talk
ahead.
now.
After Colorado Springs.
And just after that came out, just to share a number of people. I'm not talking about the grifters saying like, you know, well, those people too, but just the number of people online and people in my town, you know, saying like, oh, this was good, you know, fuck those faggots, you know, saying shit like that, and, you know, saying that more of it should happen. And I'm just like, thank God I can pass this straight, because you know, it's just like holy fuck, you know, at least I could pretend to be straight, because
I mean,
like,
it's
I'm honestly like, you know,
scary as shit.
I'm getting my I'm getting my passport renewed just because it's like, well, you know, I better do it now while I still can, and I'm looking to probably just leave the state, you know, at least go live with my dad, you know, and you know, just to get the fuck out of here. Just 'cause
I mean, people who hate gays are everywhere.
They're going mask off.
Just 1 second, just very quick interruption. I have not been able to find any confirmation that Keir Starmer blanket backs this the new police anti-protest bill.
Yeah.
However, I have found articles that talk about how he supports certain statutes about it, especially as they regard climate change protesting.
Mm-hmm.
Even
But
still,
yeah, I
that's
just
not
hate the fact that in the UK, you know, there's a systematic like institutional oppression, and then here in the States,
the British
it's just over violence. You know,
the thing is, I don't want to say the British people, because first of all, British is too general. Like here, it's purely the English people, and specifically Southerners, because I've noticed Northerners don't tend to like government and tend to, you know, try to do stuff that is like anti-government, or at least vote like anti-government.
I mean, the Northerners in England don't like anything that's not their cousins. Come on now.
Yeah. I thought that was specifically Northumberland, but all right.
Oh my
I
god.
love that the Supreme Court of the UK also struck down like any chance at a Scottish referendum. Another one.
Oh fuck.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
they already had a referendum. They're not allowed to have another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about second referendum?
I'm like, yeah. You try and tell that to a Scotsman and see how they fucking react.
What about Levins's referendum? And
There's
Brunch
no
referendum.
11's referendum. There's not gonna
I'm
be
trying-
a
I'm trying-
11's referendum.
I'm trying to make the Lord of the Rings joke about breakfast.
Yeah.
Yes, we all are.
I do want to say this
We
is
can- yeah.
specifically because there have been talks about rejoining the EU.
Yeah,
There have been
the
talks
Scotland.
about
That's
rejoining the EU.
literally one of the main reasons why a lot of Scottish people voted against leaving the United Kingdom was because they feared that England, that what remained of the UK, would basically then block their entry into the European Union. And then, as a pragmatic vote, they said no. But then they fucking left the EU. They don't get a say anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
There is
God.
still the
I
Spain
genuinely-
question, of course.
Oh
so
my
that's
God.
still a bit of a contentious issue as to whether Spain would allow Scotland to join the EU for the exact same reasons that they don't want to motivate Catalonia too much.
Yeah.
I think that there's
I mean,
a
I know
difference
that,
between Scotland and Catalonia in the sense that Scotland is still
I
even though
know.
it's in part of the UK, it's still a self-governing country. Like
I know that
It is a
Norway
large
and
extent, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that Norway and Denmark have tentatively reached their hands out in a sort of yeah, you can join the Nordic Union if you leave the UK.
Yeah. Which would rock, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way you get all the people with the weird hair color and all in one union.
Oh, the Nordic Union is basically just a way of for Nordic countries just sort of go right. These are our laws. Let's try and get them as close to each other as possible, and let's try and keep unions as powerful as they are. Except for Sweden, who are attempting to gut the unions so they can
the
invite
Swedes.
Amazon in.
Thank you, Sweden Democrats.
Oh, this was not the Sweden Democrats. This has been happening since before them.
Oh my god.
Because Sweden,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how much you know about the situation in Sweden, but they're not doing too well.
Yeah, apparently they're
I heard the whole
once again,
country is
with
just full of
chat.
Swedish people, dude. That's
Well,
fucked up.
yeah, that's a problem,
that's
and
pretty
they should
sad.
be pushed into the sea where they belong.
They're
Um,
landlocked.
I'm just wondering how pissed off with
Wait, no,
Estonia.
Sweden's not landlocked. What are you
No,
talking about?
you're right. I fucked it up.
Well,
I'm not good
America
at
moment?
geography.
Yeah,
I
I
just
can
wanna
tell
mention-
that,
I
lady.
just want to mention how
I didn't
How
know what a
pissed off-
Balkan was until I joined the server.
Oh
how
god.
pissed off would Estonia be if Scotland got in the Nordic Union before us for them.
That would be really
I mean,
funny.
they don't count their part of the Balkans or Baltic states, whatever.
Yeah,
don't
the
care.
Balkans
Well,
and the Baltic
Estonia-
states are two
Estonia-
very, very, very different things.
I mean, yeah,
very much so.
what the one side is racist and the other side is just gay.
What?
Also,
Sounds
one
about
of
right.
them has Wi-Fi.
Ah,
Yeah.
And
Lol.
That's a good guys.
Yeah.
And from what I understand from the memes, Estonia really, really, really wants to be Nordic.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
Really?
they don't
Not-
want to be
we're-
Baltic. That's true.
We're not letting them, basically.
How come? Just because of the people group? Is that it? They're racist to
Well, no.
Well, no, because
Milwaukee.
the Nordic Union looks at Finland and they're like, we don't want another one of you.
fair.
I mean,
To be fair, I was gonna say, have you heard Finnish people talk? But there's have you heard?
I met
Swedish
one
people
Finnish
talk?
person. And I
fuck,
was
have
like,
you heard
That's it.
the way that
It's-
Icelandic people talk?
Have you heard a Danish
Icelandic
person talk?
people is like very
Yes, I'm right here.
old. It's like
I mean,
old
have
ass.
you heard Danish people talk.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like they took all the people with the most ridiculous languages and like put them there, and then some of them
together.
went to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Icelandic is literally just old Norse, but modernized, basically.
No.
So New Norse.
Like Viking old?
Yeah, supposedly it's a lot more closely tied to like old Viking Norse than it is,
See,
and
it's-
a lot of the Swedes are.
It's where we took all the Nordic garden gnomes and put on one island, and we went, you can live there.
Ah, the Yule lads.
And they learned to speak their own little gobbledygook language.
Very
I love
true.
the this like Travel Man episode where Richard Ayoade goes to like Iceland, and he goes to like the elf museum. And this is just like this old guy who looks like Santa Claus in like a suit explaining to him the lore of the elves. And he's like, yeah, but this, I mean, you know this is not true, right? It's not true. Like, you are aware that there's no elves, right? He just wouldn't outright say that he doesn't believe in elves.
Did he go to
Just
the
keeps-
Did he go to the penis museum?
I don't know.
Excuse me?
It's been a while since
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Iceland has a penis museum.
Yeah,
Bro,
Friggin' epic, man.
nice.
yeah.
Is it nice?
It's
No,
one of
it
the
is
things.
absolutely nice.
It's one of the things we make fun of Iceland for.
You should go to Amsterdam, dude.
Does Iceland have like a national wizard like New Zealand does?
No.
Kiwis have a wizard?
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
great.
New Zealand, yeah,
I
New
mean, we have
Zealand,
wizards
I-
here
I
too.
think he-
I mean,
I think he retired, but he was like a legally recognized wizard in New Zealand. But I
Denmark
think he retired.
Denmark has an unofficial national shaman.
I mean, we
Really?
have wizards here too, but
Yeah.
that's a
Is it
very
Chili
different
Claus?
connotation.
No, it's not Chili Klaus.
Oh yeah,
sadly.
yeah.
But no, the
we
the unofficial shaman of Denmark is he's from Greenland, because Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark,
Oh yeah, yeah,
is
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
still practice shamanism over there.
yeah.
Which
When
is
I
I
was,
mean,
when I was in Denmark, in Copenhagen, I was like, I was just with my ex with my girlfriend at the time. We were just walking around. We come into this like big plaza that looks very fancy, and there's like people in uniform standing around, and we just asked a random person, like, fucking, what is this place? It's like, oh, this is the palace. As they explains to me that we're standing in the middle of the royal palace. We just walked into it. And he had like a bunch of Greenlandic people, and I got the impression that he kind of was very amused by the fact that we in no way recognized who he was.
Was he the king, perchance?
I know he wasn't the king. I looked that up afterwards, but he might have been some like famous person.
Well, Denmark doesn't have a king. We haven't had a king for like 60 years.
The queen or the whoever the fuck.
We had the queen and the queen consort,
ah,
and he was a French person that
the royal
our queen
consort.
deliberately, constantly said, "Yeah, you're not allowed to be king because you're French."
He's like, well, yeah, that sounds fair enough. Yes, of course.
Yes, Prince Consort Henri wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah.
I can
And
imagine.
I mean,
he
it
he
was
wrote
kind
it
of
into his
similar
memoirs.
to fucking Prince Philip, that because like if you have a king, the king always outranks the queen, so he can only be a prince.
Oh, and we
Girl
have
boss.
a prince
I'm going
right
up
now.
against-
One of our princes right now is throwing a massive shit fit, right?
Why?
Most of them usually do. Yeah.
Because he believes he's not being treated right, and that the
Of
royal
course.
family treats him like trash.
Yeah.
Because he's a rich
and-
kid.
And our crown prince is like, bruh, you don't do anything. Like, our crown prince at least
don't even go
was,
here.
was part of our special forces. Like, he took part of that training.
Damn.
I mean, the royal family is just basically. I know this is like this in the UK, but like they go it's basically just ribbon cutting ceremonies all day.
The queen does have some political power,
Uh-huh.
and she
Going
does.
up against
She
her
does. She does also have the power to, like unilaterally just like tell Parliament to fuck off.
I
if they
mean,
do something that isn't against the Danish
the
public.
monarch of England can do that also.
Yeah. I think she's
So
used
they just
that
have like a
power
straight up like
twice.
veto that's just like you can't do that.
Yeah. I think she's used it
Oh.
twice.
Okay, the King of England cannot do that. He just can
my
dissolve
God.
Oh,
Parliament.
Yeah, he can dissolve
when
Parliament,
you're
but
done,
nothing
I
else.
got
acid.
a funny story about the Saudi royal family.
Oh yeah, down with the House of Sod.
You're done.
Yeah, fuck any of the
Oh,
Eastern
so a
countries.
podcast I used to listen to called the Giant Bomb Cast. You know, from the website Giant Bomb. You know, it's a video game. They got a letter or an email from a member of the royal Saudi family. And it was this kid. He was probably like 19, 20 years old. And he was talking about like, I'm such a big fan of Giant Bomb. You got me into gaming. I built my first gaming PC. And he's like, I wanted to do something for you guys, so I'm thinking about buying all of you RTX Titan graphics cards.
Oh my god.
And,
Bro.
and like they read the letter, and like 4 of them were like, we probably shouldn't do this, but of course Jeff Gerstman's like, oh, shut up, we can get like a free RTX Titan.
Yeah.
And they were all kind of against it, except for Jeff. But then like a couple weeks later, they got a letter, not a letter, another email from the kid, and the kid was like, "Yes, my dad found out what I was gonna do, and said I can't do that, so I'm sorry."
Oh.
Sad.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
damn,
also
bro.
like the Saudi king is like, you want to get RTX Titans for Giant Bomb? I do not. I was gonna do a joke where I was just gonna mention some other gaming podcasts, but I realized I do not know any gaming podcasts. So. I'm
mean,
more of a
only-
PewDiePie fan myself.
I'm morally
I'm
I'm
a fan
morally
of
flexible
Stavros and the Cometown.
I am morally
Listens to
flexible
Cometown.
enough to admit that if the House of Sod wanted to sponsor me an RTX like 3090 Ti, I'll take it.
I wouldn't do that.
I would.
Yeah.
You seen the price of that shit? It's expensive.
Here's the thing, right? I'd be kind of on the fence about it because on the one hand, I get a free graphics card, but on the other hand, if I tell them no, which is within my principles, I might get Khashoggi'd.
I have said no to a lot of very good sponsorship deals. Not even because I thought they
Also-
were immoral, but because I just wasn't using the product in my private life.
Oh, did you get sponsorship emails from like Raids, Shadow Legends?
I suppose technically I'm not allowed to talk about it, but
Yeah.
actually, I definitely am allowed to talk about it. There's no fuck. I didn't sign anything. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't sign anything? Sweet.
Yeah,
This
you
is
didn't
fine.
sign
You
an
can talk
NDA.
about it.
They just
Yeah, if
reached
you
out
didn't
to
sign
me.
NDA, go
They
off.
were like, I don't know if you've heard about us, but we got this mobile game. It's called Raid Shadow Legend. It's like, yes, fuck off.
Yes, I've heard of you. Okay.
Like, I'm just gonna try to like get some random sponsors here. Did you get
Okay,
sponsorship mails from
Squarespace.
HelloFresh?
No, actually, I don't think they exist in Germany. But HelloFresh is one of those ones that I would try out
Mhm.
and see how
Dollar
I
Shave
like
Oh,
it.
I actually got a story about this because, way back before I knew any of you, like way back, I used to be a brony, and I had a podcast with a couple friends
Uh-huh.
About the show, but we were more of like an edgy, like we would talk about the
Edgy
show for like
ponies.
15. We would talk about the show for like 15 minutes and then just talk about whatever the fuck we wanted. And we had a pretty big audience for for about a year, and we got approached by Audible to do an Audible sponsorship.
Oh, that's
I would do that one.
And we were like, oh yeah, totally, let's fucking do this. We all listen to Audible. We love Audible. And so we contacted them back, and we figured out that they had sent us like an automated message, because then they actually like listened to and reviewed our podcast, and they're like, we're not interested.
I used to do editing work for an old video games podcast. This was like back in 2009.
Yeah.
Like I was, in college. Like I need something to do, so I applied for like an editor position, and I got it. So edited together episodes and whatnot. And every now and then, like things would come back. Like so, everyone would get brought in, and they would like discuss things that were sent into them. Should we accept this? Should we like decline that? Blah 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 blah. And we got offered a sponsorship by Second Life.
Whoa.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Specifically
gonna
for
pay
Second
you
Life
in-
real estate.
Bro.
Were they gonna
Nice.
pay
You
you in
in,
Second Life dollars though?
And Linden
No,
dollars.
they wanted to pay us in fast food gift cards and
Ah!
bean bags.
Oh my
And
God.
beanbag chairs.
We are no longer in a barter society. We invented money precisely
Yeah.
to not have to deal with this particular problem anymore.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
sponsorships
Yeah.
weren't
Oh, yeah,
really
yeah,
a big thing for independent creators at that time.
Yeah.
Also, I just
You were like way back in the day in 2009, and I was like,
I mean, we got a sponsorship from Apple.
how old am I?
Also, I should mention that on the podcast I did. Probably the reason why Audible, it probably wasn't because we were bronies. It was the fact that we had a Rule 34 artist showcase. that we
Okay, well
do
that was
every
definitely
podcast.
it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, that was that. But it was just surprising that like Audible reached out to us, and then when they actually listened, reviewed the podcast, they were like, "Oh, sorry, no, we don't want this.
We don't
We
do
don't
that
want
here.
associate."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I quit that editing job after we got a sponsorship from Apple, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because
Uh-huh.
they wanted us to sort of, plug their new peripherals, the Apple keyboard and the Apple Magic Mouse, like the first edition of the Apple Magic Mouse before it was called the Apple Magic
Oh,
Mouse.
oh yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that one.
that piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I was sent the product to try it out so I could plug its features and whatnot. And I shit you not, right? 3 days later, I email the guy in charge of the podcast saying I can't do this. Like, I physically cannot use this product. It is so fucking bad, and I cannot plug it. Please, can we do something about this contract? It's like, nah, you gotta do this. I was like,
Oh my God.
I quit. So I quit immediately, like on the spot.
Yeah.
Packed up the shit and shipped it over to my boss. 2 months later, I get an email saying, "Could you please come back? I agree with you. This is a pile of shit, and I can't believe we took the sponsorship deal."
Oh, mail.
I've had
I
this like where I said I only do ads for products that I like use and that I like, and basically the guy went, yeah, well, of course, when you do a sponsorship, you get to sample the product, which is true. Like this is how I actually, there's a bunch of products that I just got for free that I liked, and I was like, okay, I'll do the sponsorship. But I did, and if this I can't actually talk about like what it was. But I just, I received it and I hated it. It was just bad and didn't
It was
work in
dog
my
shit.
workflow. And then the motherfucker was trying to pressure me to do it because you agreed, you signed the deal. I said, no, I didn't sign the deal. I said, yeah, show me the product. And then we will decide after. We were very explicit about that. Yeah, and he was like trying to fucking he was implying that they would be taking legal action because I'd basically like stolen product from them that they gave me for free because I asked them for it. But nothing ever came of that.
That guy's
Well, yeah,
used to
'cause they-
strong arming.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. He's used to strong arming like people who don't know any better.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
when he
yeah.
comes up against somebody who actually knows what the fuck he's talking about, he doesn't have any teeth.
I mean,
So,
these sort
sorry,
of
I didn't
agents.
mean to cut you off.
These sort of agents score commission money from any contracts that get signed.
Yeah.
That's probably why they're so pressuring about it.
I love you know how sometimes people show up to your door and try to sell you shit?
Yeah.
I love just talking to them for an hour or two.
Oh god.
Man, my dad would do that with like the Mormons and the Jehovah Witnesses, and I'm just like,
Oh, my
please,
dad would do the same thing. My
please
dad would,
stop.
because my dad would try to like outsmart them.
Only two.
He would do like the
things-
atheist debate.
Well, I mean,
See,
he
for
wouldn't
me-
try to outsmart them. He would just tell them like, "Oh, I know Jesus," and like talk about Jesus, and they're like, "Okay, but I'm not up here about Jesus," and he's like, "Well, then what are you doing here?" And they would just go back and forth. And
See, I did that, but the last time I did that was with one of the Obama phone people.
Oh boy.
Obama
The
phone?
what people?
The Obama,
Obama
phone
phone.
people.
Do
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, I this wasn't
they
to
call
please
you?
repeat what you said, but
Yeah,
like,
can
please
you elaborate
explain-
on what Obama phone
Yeah,
is?
Yeah.
Wait,
I don't know what this is. Obama.
Yeah, I have a hard
how
time
the fuck do you
comprehending
guys
this.
not know what this is? Like, I can
I
understand.
never
I-
got
I-
harassed by a
Googling another-
Obama
I-
phone person.
I mean,
Oh,
are you
right.
Talking, are you talking about like Freedom Phone? Like
No,
the,
no. It was a program.
No, that's different.
It was right. It was a program to get 20 million financially strapped Americans to get a free cell phone in minutes.
oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like for a while up here in California, they were having like people go door to door with that shit, and someone actually
Just
came up to my
handing
door
out
with it.
phones?
Yeah.
And it was a very specific model as well. The UMX U686CL.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't
which-
they
which
gave
also
you the
came
phone for
with
free, but they fucked you over on the plan.
they also it also came with unremovable malware.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that-
do have
yeah,
to say though,
Basically, the whole point of it was to just give financially strapped people a cell phone so they could at least like apply for jobs and shit.
I mean, don't you
Which-
need a bank for that?
Shout out to fucking Nuttism for being about to eliminate Islam.
Yeah.
Nuttism. What did they do?
I feel like nuttism would.
I can't
Probably become the prominent-
look right now. I am bribing so many of
Speaking-
my factional
Speaking
allies.
of phones
to
that do
declare-
dumb shit, right? So some that my phone does every once in a while. I have basically nothing on this thing, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm like I got a phone that has no bloatware on it. As little bloatware as possible. It's a Nokia phone, still full of bloatware. So what it's currently doing is that it'll say, oh, there's a bunch of the data's running out, your space is running out on the phone. So I click on it, it's like, you can delete 500 megabytes of just junk files, and I do it, and then an hour later it's like, oh no, space on the phone is running out. And I go on it, it's like, you can delete 500 megabytes of junk files, and I do it, and this just happens over and over again. Something is just putting ones and zeros on the fucking internal.
No, what's
storage.
happening? No, what's happening? What's happening is that if it's like your browser and like the operating itself is like creating like swap files and shit, like files, like temporary files that needs to run, and the
For
cleaning
what though? I
program-
literally never use my phone. The phone, it's sitting next to me. I use it for WhatsApp and for like my
what-
bus ticket.
Question, Burger. What brand is it?
It's a Nokia phone.
it's a
Nokia.
Nokia.
Ah, I know what's happening.
What is happening?
Okay, what's
The,
happening?
The cleaning part of the thing doesn't actually work on Nokia phones.
What do you mean?
What?
In order to free up space, you have to manually go into the Google Play Store and like fucking empty the caches of every.
Oh, I do
individual
that
app.
too. Also, like that's just an additional
Yeah.
thing that I do. It's just that
Yeah.
like after a couple more hours, that is also filled back up again. Especially the Google search one. Will have like
Yeah.
gigabytes of just. I have not Googled anything.
Well, it does record what you say.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It is listening to you.
Yeah.
You hear me, you fucking
I
little
see.
shit?
Yeah, you
I
piece
see
of
you
shit.
talking, ladies. I
I
hear
see,
you, and I'm
it
talking.
also syncs data from your Google account as well. So like your search history,
But my
frequent
my
website.
search history in like a 5-hour time span, even when I'm researching something, couldn't possibly be a gigabyte of data.
No, but
That's
sync
Well,
to your
Well,
account,
I mean,
so it's like
Google saves a lot more than you think.
Yeah,
I'm just
it's
using
a
search results as an example.
Somebody to save like
It is-
entire HTML pages and shit.
yeah,
That
it
is true.
saves all data that is put in, right? So that's
But then
all.
why
it's
does
all
it
voice data.
send that to the phone? Like if it because I cannot overstress how little I use my phone. I never use my phone for anything ever. It's all on my computer. If there is an activity I can do that where it doesn't involve my phone, I will do it that way because I hate using my phone. So what
It
it would basically have to do is take like cached HTML sites that I use on my computer and send those to my phone instead of sending them to wherever the fuck they actually keep that data.
Yeah, it's a workaround basically because
Mm.
they're not allowed to do that like via a computer via the browser, but they can do it via the phone.
Oh my god!
Because when you set up like Android, like log into everything and to get the phone set up,
Yeah.
one of the agreements that you accept is that they are allowed to collect data from all your Google accounts.
Yep.
Like store that data on your phone and send that on to Google services.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
because
that's
they
part of the
can't
reason
legally
why
do that on your
people-
computer, oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, this is
And
so...
you might think, oh, that's scummy. I should switch to like an Apple phone instead.
It's not even
like,
scummy, it's
no.
just dumb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it is, but that's because they need the advertising money to keep afloat.
Well, to keep
all-
afloat, people are really misstating how much money Google is making.
Like they earn a shit ton on ads, like an unbelievably like exorbitant amount of
Yeah.
money on advertisement. And one of the contracts they have is for serving you ads on your phone, based on the data that it
I have
collects.
never received a Google ad that has interested me. Ever.
Me neither.
Of course not. It cannot it cannot read your mind to know what you're actually interested in. What it can
No,
do,
here's
though,
the thing.
is
Okay,
go
so-
off these searches.
Here's one thing that I do very occasionally do on the phone. I swipe like to my left and I look at the news articles that I get sent. I have never clicked on these are about the English account. They're telling me how I can secure money from the government to get through the winter because I live in England. I do not even live in England.
Do you have a
Not a
VPN?
single one of those articles that I've ever received
Surfshark.
has interested me in any way, shape, or form. It's
Burger.
How
all.
much-
Established.
Use a VPN.
I'm not using a
established
VPN,
title.
especially not on my phone.
Huh.
I only use a VPN when I really need to.
How much have you talked about British politics, though?
Not as much as
You-
American politics, not nearly as much, not as much as German
Well, I mean,
politics either.
No, I know what's going on. It's
you?
Posh's fault. Because
Yep.
Posh is always talking about England on here, on this stream, and it gets uploaded to YouTube, which is Google, and because it's under your account,
What?
Google thinks you live in... Yeah, because...
Okay, now we're reaching.
No.
No,
This is
this is
completely.
no.
This is completely viable. I'm sure of it.
No, this is possible. It's just... Because I'm just blaming Posh to be funny.
Yeah.
But I'm
No,
just
no,
saying,
I know,
we do,
yeah.
we discuss the UK a lot.
We don't
on-
discuss the
on this
UK as much as like other things though. Which goes YouTube actually is somewhat good at serving me up content that interests me. So the
YouTube
YouTube
is pretty
algorithm
good.
kind of works.
I
But whatever the
I
fuck
mean, I
they
know
use
I'm
for like
making the
Google
reach, but,
ads, there's a thing where you can like look up what Google thinks you are, because they had to do that by law. Like you have to be able to look up the information, and it's like what the things that they interpret from these unfathomable amounts of data that it gathers about us, like what the conclusions are that it draws from that. And it's all bullshit. It thought I fucking actually a friend of mine had thought it was a guy. She's a woman, and like a feminine woman.
Mine thought I was a mixed man in my like late
Yeah.
40s, and I was like, "What?"
It
Actually,
thought I
yeah,
was in a
I know-
relationship when I wasn't in a relationship for like 3 years. A lot of
It was looking
hobbies
out
that
for
it
you.
claimed, a lot of hobbies that it thinks I have, I just not only do
Don't.
I not have them, but they're things I actively dislike.
Mm.
Oh yeah, when I deactivated my Facebook account and I downloaded all the data, it actually nailed me pretty spot on. It was like, you're a male in your upper 30s, you're more liberal than most other people. Even though I'm a leftist, I'm not a liberal, but
Well, I think I
Yeah,
don't think they know whoever programs that at Google does not know what a leftist is.
Yeah.
yeah.
They,
Facebook
they know.
does.
They know what.
Facebook absolutely does.
Hmm. I do wanna
And
say,
it nailed,
though-
it nailed me.
Okay,
it
but do
nailed
they
me
know
at
the
a
difference
clear-
between leftist and liberal? Like, what are their
Yeah, that's a
definitions?
pretty important one.
No, it was like either it had me pegged as like a strong liberal,
All right.
and
Yeah.
Thank you. I do lift. Yes.
Yes.
I it knew that I was I'm
Games.
pansexual. I'm pansexual, but it pegged me as just gay.
Well, I mean, they're probably just like straight and gay. Like, I don't think they're.
It pegged
That
me as
nuanced.
bi.
Yeah.
I'm not bi. I wish I was, but it pegged me as bi. Which, to be fair, a lot of people do. I don't know what it is about me that makes people think I'm bisexual.
Open-mindedness.
You
But
do give off. You do give off 5 vibes.
This is you are a millionth person who has told me this. Everybody always says
Yeah,
this.
no.
Oh, you give off what the fuck did you mean? What does that
Do you sit in a
mean?
chair correctly? Do you wear
mean-
flannel?
No and yes.
I don't know how to explain it. You just give off a vibe.
Yeah, like the vibes are inexplainable. It's like you look at someone, you're like,
Yeah.
is this a bi person? And you're like, yeah, probably. Like, it's just your
I mean,
energy.
it's like gaydar, basically.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, if you
It's just
came
like
out-
a more honed in gaydar.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
I do
like,
wanna
yes,
say,
he's gay, but also he has vagina
I
sometimes.
do kind of feel like you are partially bi-leaning, but heavily in favor of women.
I mean,
not-
he's like already said what he is. Like, it's just
I
know,
think
I
Posh
know, but
may
I'm just
have
saying.
a point, but whenever I have thought about whenever there was a moment where I was like thinking about the idea of banging a twink, and the thought was like a little
course
bit
it's a twink.
nice, then
I like how you're the bear in this situation.
of course. Then I thought about it for like one more second, and I was like,
Nah.
It's like,
No,
I
not
mean,
really.
it's not. I just, it's
Like,
not
if
that
somebody
I
was
hate
holding a gun at
it,
my
I
head
just
and being
wouldn't
like-
it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't say Burger's a bear. He's more like a twunk.
A tongue.
Like a hunky twink.
Okay.
I'm not.
I don't think that
I don't
word
know
means
that-
what you think it means.
I don't think.
I don't know the gay,
anything
like,
about
lingo.
the terminology.
Fucking
No, you
mother-
have,
motherfuckers out here will look at a manly man and go, twink.
What?
Yeah, no.
Fucking
No, he's a
cougar
twunk.
pilled.
No, he's a
That
twunk.
is very
It's-
true.
Or just do what I do with all of this. Just smile, wave, and don't internalize any of
It's
it.
like, yeah, hi,
I
yeah,
do. I
cool.
do have to say though, completely unrelated, but you know, strategy games when you get so fucking powerful, you can just pay people to not fucking do anything. You can tell them like, nah, don't fight this war. Just give me all the money you have. I have reached that point where I'm literally just dogpiling Rome at the moment. Where it's literally just, hey, I've got so much money, I'll pay you to fuck off and stop fighting this war with me if you'll attack Rome. And they're like, okay, sounds good.
I'll
I've
literally
heard
pay
that.
you $100 to fuck off.
Exactly that.
Dude.
Posh has discovered lobbying.
No, I kind of want one of those
Just
phones that are like
trade
touch screen, but like still flip phones.
Oh,
I've
those
discovered
rock.
lobbying.
Posh has discovered what it means to be a capitalist.
It's like the
Inshallah.
best of both
In a
worlds, some
feudalistic society ruled
Yeah.
by money.
I can't handle all the society around me. There's too much.
We live in a society.
Oh, no.
It's like
I mean, you live in a society, maybe. I live in
It's-
Hollywood.
it's literally
I
like
want to see.
Ah, you-
I
Nemo,
want
that
to see.
means
I want.
that means you don't live in a society. You live in a hell pit of degeneracy.
Yeah, I know.
Very
That's
much
the
so.
joke. You got it.
God,
I want to see Posh like gall out.
I still
Go
can't
on.
believe.
What?
I have.
Some
Hold
of the,
on. Are you on his OnlyFans right now?
No.
Hey,
I'm
when did
just-
I get an OnlyFans?
I just had this joke
Borrow
in
your
my
sisters?
head where it's like, I just had
Fuck
this
you.
joke in my head like how like the stereotype is like the gulls were these like massive like berserker barbarians, and I just like imagining like French people.
You mean
French people
the
when they get
pop culture around it? You
yeah,
mean the
and
pop
then I like
culture around
I like
it, yeah.
to I like to imagine it's like French people are like the Hulk, where it's like when they get really incensed, they just gull out and just turn into giant barbarians.
They don't take
technically
off their
speaking,
shirt, they take off their trousers. Like,
I
I mean,
Yeah,
technically speaking, oh
so
my god.
I
you
still
have made
I
me
don't wanna
angry.
I still cannot believe some of the horror stories that a couple of my friends came out with about fucking Hollywood. So
I
it's
thought you were gonna say France.
it's
I mean,
it's a
they're
pair of
probably
twins,
true.
right? It's a pair of twins, right? Boy and a girl, and
Yeah.
they really wanted to be actors.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
And some of the shit they were asked to do in order to procure roles was insane.
It is.
Oh yeah, Nemo,
It is
you,
bad.
you have insider knowledge of this kind of shit.
Imagine
Now
the worst
you'd
thing.
think
And
you would
yeah,
think,
it's probably
right?
that.
Do you have do they have any stories from good old Dan Holder Tighter? She's a fighter Schneider.
No,
Excuse me?
they never got that far up.
Oh, good.
Now
good.
you would think the girl of the twins, right, was
Would
asked
be
to do the
forced to-
most demeaning shit. It's the other way around. It was the boy.
It's the boy.
I mean, it also depends on who you go to.
I do
Yeah.
want to say though, in relation to the gull thing, supposedly gulls were a lot like beefier than people imagined. Like
Than the
Cool.
Compared-
French.
no, but like compared to the Romans and Greek, who were kind of muscular, but supposedly culturally speaking, they didn't want to be overly muscular.
I don't know, Kratos is
absolutely
pretty hot.
fucking roided. But apparently
Yeah.
the Gauls were absolutely roided. Like some of the guys, especially
Oh,
the
so I was right.
nobles,
It's the
were
magic potion,
absolutely
dude.
fucking roided.
It's the
I
magic
mean,
potion is
Fucking
steroids.
Asterix
Yeah,
and
so-
Obelix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Drugs,
So,
imagine.
So like,
Just-
yeah, so like you see Posh or some Frenchmen. They're like in
Posh isn't a
Paris.
Frenchman.
I'm
established
a
that.
French
Posh is the
Frenchman.
worst of all worlds.
Like I say, I'm a French.
No, but, like-
literally the only French blood I have is the fact that my grandmother changed shit. Got the French citizenship to advance her studies. That was it.
No. So like you have like a Frenchman like in Paris, and some like fat American tourist walks up and asks and points at the Eiffel Tower and goes like, "We got one of those in Vegas."
Hell yeah.
And he just gets so mad that like he starts growing and like hulking out, and like his shirt rips and there's a striped shirt underneath it, and then like a beret pops out of his head, and then like he just
Is he like
pulls out a-
Godzillaing through like Venice?
Spontaneously,
He's-
like
yeah.
grows an onion necklace.
Yeah.
Yeah, he turns into Godzilla.
Tingles.
Ballzilla.
Fights with the
Alright.
baguettes.
Gets on his bicycle, proceeds to get into baguette jousting.
Fucking-
He
Alright,
puts
folks,
he puts on
uh,
he
funny, not gonna lie.
You gotta go.
Wait, I got one more. I got one. Where he puts on 2 Citroen 2 CVs as roller skates. Okay, I'm done.
God damn. Yeah, that's a good point to end the stream on. It's been
Launch.
It's been real. This has been a very fun one. And see
do-
you around.
I do have